There's an electric undercurrent humming through the Chase Center rafters tonight. A tension so thick, you can almost taste the anticipation. The kind of charged silence before a giant wave crashes on the Dub Nation shores, signaling that the Warriors' blueprint for reclaiming their throne might just be rewriting itself in real time. Welcome back to Warriors News Fan Report, where raw truths collide with splash-era passion. Smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so your heart never misses a beat. Now, let's peel back the layers on a developing saga buzzing beneath the glittering surface of Golden State's offseason maneuvers, because while the Warriors have officially inked Al Horford's 2-year veteran minimum pact and locked in Anthony Melton on a rebound-chasing deal straight off a grueling ACL rehab, whispered on the street, locker room chatter, and front office corridors is another name, Thomas Bryant, the 6'10" center whose recent NBA Finals baptism with the Eastern Conference champion Indiana Pacers just might tilt the scales in ways no one's expecting. It's no secret the free agent pool is looking a bit underwhelming. Two headline signings: a 40-year-old Horford, whose season resumed boasts clutch blocks in Boston Gardens and late-game assists in Atlanta playoff runs, yet whose mileage whispers caution when long playoff minutes test. Creaky bones and Melton, a gritty perimeter pest clawing back from an ACL tear. Hardly the seismic shake-up Splash Brothers acolytes salivate over during draft lotteries. Yet here's the twist nobody saw coming if the Golden State brass fumbles. Horford's signature in what insiders call a cap-space chess match against faster-talking suitors. Bryant's name looms large as the veteran wingman who could fill that paint-anchoring void brewing beneath the surface of Steph's gravity pull and Draymond's full-court blitzes. Let's dive deeper into the numbers. Bryant played 56 games last season, averaging a modest yet efficient 6.9 points and 3.9 rebounds, while flashing a 51.5% field goal clip that outstrips veteran bigs, more heralded for rim protection than polished hook shots. He's also quietly developed a 35% three-point touch over the past year, skill set the Splash Brothers never had to fear from the center position, forcing defenses to collapse and freeing up extra driving lanes for Curry's elastic handles and Klay's catch-and-shoot alchemy. But here's the crux. Bryant arrives with 13 fewer years of wear than Horford, glinting with untapped upside, a prospect ready to mature under Kerr's system. But is upside ever worth the gamble when dynasty edges are razor thin? Let's not forget what Horford brings beyond stats. The intangible veteran savvy that Draymond leaned on during those microseconds of timeout huddles. The slam-door leadership that once turned a feeble fourth quarter into a historical comeback. At Oracle, the cerebral court vision that reshaped passing lanes and even coaxed Kevin Durant to slip a backdoor lob from Horford's lone baseline pivot. Bryant, despite his finals minutes, hasn't weathered the same storms. He hasn't summoned teammates with a sideline pleat of a high IQ scouting report, nor diffused tense timeout fretting with a coach's calming gaze. So the front office stands perched between Pavlovian comfort of the known and the high-voltage promise of the untested. Could the addition of Bryant ignite a new narrative thread? An audacious pivot to youthful energy that injects fresh DNA into a roster that's chased that golden championship glow since 22? Or does this signal a transitional phase? Minutes redistributed as Kuminga's wings expand and Moody's pull-up thunderclaps carve out new rotational pecking orders as the team retools around edges rather than centerpieces. Imagine the locker room drama, Steph's baritone calm brokering patience, as Klay sharpens his sharpshooting artillery in silent focus, all eyes darting to the pregame chalk talk, Horford's seasoned voice reminding them of the spine-tingling roar of Game 6 and Curry's lightning-fast release punctuating each practice rep. Do we bet on Horford's twilight brilliance or place a high-risk wager on Bryant's raw, untapped hunger? And if cap constraints tighten like a noose, will Golden State's front office masterfully maneuver this chess match, snagging Bryant? As an under-the-radar jewel, a move so stealthy it reverberates through the seasons, pulsed like a battle cry from the We Believe days. Sources whisper that if Horford's talks stall by mere pennies and incentives, Bryant will no longer be a backup plan, but the linchpin of a depth chart overhaul. An acoustic signal that the Warriors intend to weather the cap storm by planting seeds in Bryant's still sprouting potential. His finals baptism cements Bryant's readiness to enter high-stakes combat. Yet one question hangs like a gauntlet across every analyst's lips. Does he possess the indefinable spark that defined the core Splash-era dynasty? That smooth, pick-and-pop brilliance, the instantaneous chemistry with Draymond's gravity pulls, the synergy with Steph's shimmy-release threes. Can Bryant assimilate, evolve, and perhaps even redefine what it means to be a modern Warriors big man? As a lifelong Dub Nation believer, my pulse is racing just writing this. The ebb and flow of hope and anxiety interlaced in every trade rumor and whispered deal. But is this the ignition point for our next title run? The spark that reignites that championship inferno, or the crack that splits our legacy, fracturing the delicate ecosystem of a team hungry for redemption and glory? Drop your unfiltered takes in the comments. I'll be right there, heart in hand, ready to ride the storm with you as this season's off-season drama sets the stage for what could be the most pivotal chapter in Warriors history yet. If the thought of the Warriors reshaping their core with Thomas Bryant, yes, Bryant, not the polished Horford redux, makes you question everything you thought you knew about this team, shout it loud right here. If you're clutching your jersey in both hands, wondering if this is genius or madness, don't hold back, because the Spurs aren't the only ones watching, and frankly, neither is Rick Carlisle or the Lakers front office. This isn't some quiet offseason shuffle. This is a seismic jolt to the very DNA of the Splash era. Imagine Draymond Green pacing, the weight of every single finals minute budgeting on his shoulders while he tells Steph, we can't just recycle the past, we have to rebuild around the present, the future, or maybe it's the other way around. In Curry's voice, normally calm but charged with that fiery insistence, is the one driving the locker room. We owe it to ourselves and to Dub Nation to find the player who's gonna push us over the top again, not just with stats, but with that killer instinct, the eyes that see an opening 2 plays before it happens. But here's the catch, the itch that won't go away is whether Bryant has the spine of a champion or just the promise of a project. Horford's name still rings like the familiar old anthem, a steady hand, veteran with championship depth. But his knees creak louder than last season's highs. Bryant's sneakers are fresher, but unproven in the crucible that turns stars into legends. And what happens to the younger core? Kuminga, Moody, Wiggins, they've been grinding under the radar, hungry for those spotlight minutes, the chance to carve out their own splash. But what if this shift actually clamps down on their growth? Because the Warriors opt to nickname Bryant as some kind of volume stopper with outside shooting upside. Does that stun our homegrown flame or turbocharge it? I'm telling you, this splash doesn't just ripple, it zips, it slaps you with questions. Is Kerr ready to coach a new modern big who can hit threes but still needs to learn the relentless defensive grind of a Draymond? Can Steph recalibrate his gravity to draw defenses differently, creating space for a Bryant pick and pop that changes the way teams guard Golden State? Or are we watching a subtle signal, maybe even a secret warning shot, that the dynasty's next chapter won't look like our past, that the old guard's light is waning, and the new guys have to evolve faster than anyone can breathe? You know how brutal the Chase Center gets when something sunsets, the silence. The gnawing doubt coverage this offseason is threatening that same interrogation hour. With cap space tighter than a drum and the luxury tax looming, how masterful will Bob Myers and the war room negotiators be at flipping minutes, tweaking contracts, and maybe, yes, sacrificing some short-term glory for a long-term blueprint that might look ragged before it's refined? Steph's legacy hangs in this balance too. He's the warhorse with 4 finals MVPs whispered about in history books. But can he lead a reinvention with a cast not built by him but around him? What if this move cracks open more locker room discord than chemistry? We've seen how that can dismantle champions faster than a blowout loss. And yet, There's that undeniable spark in Bryant's finals experience, the grit, the teeth, the hunger fresh from the fight with the Pacers, like a raw diamond that's about to be sharpened by the pressures of the West and the unforgiving spotlight that the Warriors live in. The flashes he showed, the emerging perimeter shot, aren't just numbers. They're a roadmap to a new kind of big man, one who stretches the floor in ways no previous Golden State center dared, potentially reshaping the offense into something both familiar and explosive. Picture the conversations behind closed doors, the debates between Kerr and Myers, fueled by film sessions dissecting Bryant's high IQ plays, his pick-and-roll chemistry, and those clutch moments that demand more than physical ability. They call for icy composure. And what of roster spots are we about to see the end of a veteran like Wiggins' primetime role to make space for this young blood? How will the fans react when a longtime face gives way to a player still chasing his breakout? If Bryant's name rises from backup plan to frontline weapon, is the gamble worth the seismic shift it forces on Golden State's identity? Or is it the kind of chess move that only the wisest can appreciate now, but that will redefine our championship path 80 months down the road? As someone who has sprinted alongside this franchise through every heart-shattering injury, every thunderous comeback, and every surreal parade, the pulse in my chest tonight hums with a mix of raw excitement and gut-wrenching uncertainty because either we are on the cusp of watching a dynasty reborn in the fire of bold experimentation or quietly witnessing the slow unraveling of an empire that once ruled the hardwood. This moment this offseason is where legends are made or legacies fade, and trust me when I say, this is for the real ones, the diehards who feel every iota of tension crackling through the air like static before a storm. Now it's your turn. Drop your hottest, rawest takes below. What does Bryant's potential addition mean to you, salvation or sabotage? Are we riding the lightning or treading water? I'm here, reading every word with the heart of a warrior, ready to clash in the comments, because this isn't just a roster update. It's the next pulse in our saga, the next battle, the next chance for glory or grit. Dub Nation, it's our story to write, so tell me, what are we really building here? It's wild, it's electric, it's messy, yet it carries the weight of those warriors who came before us and those who will blaze this path forward. So I'm throwing this to you now, no filter, no fluff drop, your hottest take below. Is Chris Magnon the missing jigsaw of a dynasty refusing to fade, or just another hopeful spark that'll flicker out? Are we witnessing the birth of the next defining chapter, or the beginning of internal tectonic shifts that could fracture our legacy? I'll be in those comments, eyes peeled, fire burning, receipts and reasons ready, because this story's just getting started. And you know as well as I do, in Dub Nation, every heartbeat, every word, every opinion is part of the fight. Will you be the torchbearer lighting the path forward, or the lost promise that flickered out in the shadows of the chase? As someone who bled blue and gold through every heartbreaking parade, who's lived for these moments of impossible tension and impossible hope, I can feel it shifting in the air. The Warriors' way, the resilience, the guts, the unyielding chase of perfection is about to be tested again in a way that will define this era far beyond a snapshot or a trade deadline. Now, I want to hear from you. No holdbacks, no soft takes. Drop your hottest, rawest, unfiltered fear or fire about Kuminga, the ceiling or the breaking point of this team, and what you think this all means for the future of Dub Nation. I'll be right there, reading every word with that same ferocious passion that's kept me a ride-or-die Warriors fan, rooting hard through every single twist of the storm.